On Devil's Night in Detroit, Sergeant Darrell is investigating a crime scene where a young woman, Shelley Webster, was raped and mortally wounded, and her fiancé, Eric Raven, was shot and killed in the attack by falling off the building into the streets below. The officers rush to take her to the hospital. Outside they meet Sarah, a young abandoned girl that Shelley and Eric used to take care of. Officer Darrell consoles the young girl. A year later, Sarah takes flowers to the graves of both Eric and Shelley. A crow perches atop a cross on one of the headstones. The crow then moves up to Eric's gravestone, and then it begins to rain heavily. Sarah leaves, and the crow begins to peck furiously at the tombstone. Sarah then heads to find her mom, but instead finds Officer Darrell at a hot dog stand, where he offers to buy her a hot dog too. Eric's grave breaks, and Eric is resurrected back to life. He claws his way back to the ground and is guided through the dark alleys by the crow to find some clothing and shoes. The crow leads Eric back to his apartment, which has now been sealed off by the police. He gets a flashback of what happened when he fell off the window and died. He also gets glimpses of the criminal gang that attacked and killed him and his wife. Meanwhile, the same gang is out in a bar drinking and causing trouble, playing with their knives and guns. They almost get into a tussle themselves until the waitress, who is Sarah's mom, warns them to stop playing in the bar. She then proceeds to serve them. Eric decides to go after his wife's killers and disguises himself as a rock star. He now looks like the Devil's Joker and sets off for revenge. The first target is Tintin, who is responsible for raping his wife and stabbing him. Tintin is at the pawn shop run by the mafia, and he is bargaining to sell some wares he had stolen from a store they had raided. Gideon, the store owner, offers him a bad deal, and he's not happy with it. Nevertheless, he takes a small amount of money and leaves while hurling curses at Gideon. Gideon just ignores the prick. He gets out of Gideon's shop, but the crow has already tracked him down. Eric follows him by jumping and running over buildings until he reaches the man in an abandoned alley, trying to take a whiff of his cigarette from a burning dumpster. They immediately get into a fight, and Tintin is badly overwhelmed. He asks why he is being attacked so one-sidedly, and Eric replies that he had raped and killed his fiancée a year before. Tintin gets riled up and tries to push back one last time after remembering the ordeal, but a superhuman Eric blocks all his attacks and attempts at escape, and then stabs him several times, killing him. Top Dollar, the big boss of the city's criminal gang, is having a romp with his lover, sister, or sorceress in the club. Sarah's mom is singing with the band downstairs as a vocalist. Granges, the boss's right-hand man, is standing guard at the door. Sarah goes to the club to find her mom, and she is chased away by one of the gang members who wants to sleep with her mom. Eric then goes to Gideon's shop and begins to terrorize him. He is looking for a ring that had been taken from his dead fiancée a year earlier and sold to Gideon. He threatens Gideon until he finds it. He then decides to leave Gideon alive, but blows up his entire shop. Gideon comes out alive, but with his legs on fire. Outside, Eric comes face to face with Officer Darrell. Eric hints to the officer that he is responsible for the death of Tintin, and his other gang friends are on the radar to die. Top Dollar, the head of all criminal gangs, is informed of the explosion at Gideon's auction shop and the death of Tintin. He sends out Granges to investigate what's going on. Officer Darrell is at the police station and has a colleague steal files for him about the double homicide of Eric and Shelley that happened last year. As he combs through the pictures, he makes out Eric's face from the Rockstar photo album and deduces that the painted man he met was Eric, but he is supposed to be dead. Eric goes for his third victim, Funboy, who is in a motel having fun with Sarah's estranged mom. He breaks up their activities, and when Funboy shoots him several times and he heals in front of their eyes, he is very scared. Sarah's mom runs away to hide in the bathroom. Eric finds her and reminds her of her duty to take care of her daughter. He lets her go. Eric then proceeds to overdose Funboy with his morphine injections, making a crow symbol on his chest. He dies like that. Downstairs, T-Bird is with a shaken Gideon, and he sees Sarah's mom, who had gone upstairs with Funboy, running off the premises. Sensing something, he goes upstairs to find a vanishing Eric who has enough time to wink at him before jumping off the building. Funboy is on the floor, dead. Eric then goes to Officer Darrell's house, who is astonished at seeing him. He confirms that he is Eric and wants to understand what happened to his fiancée. Daryl informs him that his fiancée died painfully after going to the ICU. He reads his memories and sees that the officer was there when Shelley was taken to the hospital, and he helped take care of Sarah. He thanks him for staying with her the whole time. After leaving Daryl, he saves Sarah, who was almost knocked down by a car. He gives her a clue as to whom he is before disappearing. Gideon, on the other hand, is telling the tale to Top Dollar about how he shot the man who robbed him, Eric, but he just kept coming back to life. Top Dollar kills him for the possibility that he has led Eric straight back to them. Eric goes after his fourth victim, T-Bird. He kidnaps him in his car, ties him up, and explodes the car at the harbor, killing him. The next day, Grange, Top Dollar's right-hand man, investigates Eric's grave and finds the body exhumed. That morning, Sarah wakes up to find her mom preparing her breakfast. She wonders whether it is real, but when her mother almost leaves again, Sarah holds her back and tells her how she wants her to stay. Top Dollar holds a meeting with the entire group of crime lords in the city, and they plan activities for the coming Devil's Night. Also present is Skank, T-Bird's former partner, who saw how the Crow had murdered his former partner. He is scared and does not want to be there. As the meeting goes on, Eric attacks and disrupts the meeting. He declares that he only wants Skank, but is instead showered with a rain of bullets. When he comes back up again, all healed and fine, everyone is thrown into disarray, and he takes advantage, beginning to kill everyone. During the tussle, Eric manages to kill Skank by throwing him off the building. Top Dollar, Micah, and Grange get to escape. Micah theorizes that Eric and the Crow are connected, with the Crow being the source of his power. If the Crow is killed, Eric will cease being immortal. Eric manages to escape the police manhunt by getting help from Officer Daryl, who hides him in his car. He goes to find Sarah sleeping next to his tombstone. He gives her Shelley's ring to keep believing his revenge mission is over. However, after they part ways, Grange kidnaps Sarah and takes her to the church. Eric follows, not knowing it is a trap. Grange shoots the Crow and Eric turns mortal. When he fights with Top Dollar, his wounds do not heal. He is saved again by Officer Daryl, who shows up and sprays Grange with bullets. As they climb the stairs to find Sarah, Micah shoots Daryl and he has to give up his pursuit. Eric goes up alone. Micah corners Eric as he climbs the stairs and almost ends his life, but he is saved by his Crow, which tears out Micah's eyes. She ends up dying by falling off the church bell down below. Eric goes to the top of the roof and engages in one final fight with Top Dollar. Sarah is thrown to the side and almost slips down the roof. As the fierce fight drags on, Top Dollar inflicts a mortal wound on Eric. Thinking he has won, he lets his guard down, and Eric takes the chance to send him visions of his fiancée's 30 hours of pain. Top Dollar is paralyzed by the sensations, and he is thrown off the roof, where he dies after being pierced by a sculpture. Eric then saves Sarah and leaves her with Officer Daryl. He stumbles back to his grave and is reunited with the spirit of his dead fiancée. The graves return to normal, and the Crow reappears to present Sarah, Shelley, with her ring. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. If you like this video, please consider subscribing to our channel. I'll be back with another interesting movie recap. Until then, take care.